The Pete Carroll era at USC officially over. Hey, how are you, folks? Jason Horowitz, glad to be with you here on CBSSports.com. Pete Carroll has handed in his resignation to USC, so the 9 years in Los Angeles are done. Let's bring in our college football columnist, Dennis Dodd, who's joining us from the American Football Coaches Association convention in Orlando. And Dennis, Pete Carroll, 9 years, USC dominance for the most part in the entire decade, but with the possibility of sanctions, how is he leaving this program?
Well, it's very, very uncertain right now, Jason, because everybody from USC to the players to coaches outside the program are waiting to see what the NCAA hands down. And Pete going to the Seahawks, a lot of people see as him getting out ahead of the posse. Now, I think he was always going to have his eye cast towards the NFL, but it doesn't hurt him that he's going at this time. The basketball program, we know, self-penalized. Postseason scholarships. The thing with the football is we don't know. We're waiting for it to happen. It could happen soon. I think the way to look at this is what hurts them the most. The thing that hurts them the most is postseason, which I don't think they'll get. Scholarships, I certainly think they'll get. And forfeits, which could really be damaging in an embarrassing way, because if, in fact, USC competed with an ineligible player, Reggie Bush, in the 2004 season, they'd have to vacate Pac-10 titles. And also a real sticking point, they may have to forfeit that championship, BCS championship in 2004. That's not an NCAA thing. That's going to come down to the BCS commissioners having to make a really possibly controversial decision. Do they rip it and give it to Oklahoma, or do they keep it, which could be equally as as embarrassing a thing for the BCS commissioners.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's certainly something that we'll have to find out in terms of the record books. But in terms of moving forward here, Dennis, this wasn't the best season for USC. They had some struggles. They finished middle of the pack in the conference. Whoever is the next coach, do you think this program will come back to the middle of the pack and be in contention for the title every season, as opposed to being the expected winner every season?
Well, they have to get the right coach, and I think it's imperative that they hire a coach within the next 2 or 3 days, because you cannot go another weekend without having kids in there and visiting and knowing who's going to coach. There's always very much uncertainty in recruiting right now. They're losing kids. A lot of kids that had committed are opening up their recruiting. I think they could get them back if they got the right guy and have a heck of a recruiting class. But that's no certainty. Can they dominate like they did, going 7 straight BCS bowls? I think that's highly unlikely, but I think USC is still on a good track where they could compete for Pac-10 titles every year.
But Dennis, who may be that guy? Because the rumors all over the place this weekend, and a lot focused on Mike Riley from Oregon State. He signed an extension, so he's not going to be that guy. Who may be that guy?
Well, until he says no, Jack Del Rio at the Jacksonville Jaguars would be a candidate. Steve Sarkisian at Washington has said that Washington is his dream job. But I was told by a coach within the league last night that Sarkisian, if pursued, would come, no doubt about it. Now, again, he's been at Washington 1 year. That would be a tough decision. Dwayne Walker, people probably don't remember him. He's the head coach at New Mexico State, that coached under Pete, coached the defense under Pete a few years ago. And a name that just came up that makes a lot of sense is Kyle Whittingham, who I think would go, a guy from the West, a guy that would be able to take on that NCAA probation, a tough coach, a good coach, a proven coach. I think it'd be a great hire for USC.
And a coach that coached after Urban Meyer left Utah, and then he left for the big program. Maybe Kyle Whittingham does the same, going to the opposite coast. Dennis, thank you very much. We'll talk to you real soon.
All right, Jason, thanks.
All right, folks, for more on this story and USC's perspective, keep it right here with CBSSports.com and read everything that Dennis has coming from Orlando. From Dennis Dodd, I'm Jason Horowitz. Take care, folks.